Hi and welcome to another HT Guys video review. I'm Braden.
And I'm Mara, and today we take a look at the Pioneer VSX-820-K.
Every year we do a receiver buyer's guide and we pick our value unit, the one that's good bang for the buck. Last year it was the Onkyo SR607. This year we're thinking this unit may replace it.
And this is a 5.1 system. It's got HDMI 1.4. Which means it'll support 3D. It supports next generation audio, and that's Dolby True HD and DTS Master Audio HD. And it also supports Dolby Pro Logic 2Z, which is something I think you're looking for in a receiver, Braden.
Yeah, absolutely. So set up, you'll tell, I'll lift it up for you here real quick. It's pretty light, lighter on this side, heavier on this side where the amps are. But it's easy to move around, easy to put in any shelf anywhere, and although it is light and easy to move, it doesn't look like you went cheap on your receiver.
Now, the unit doesn't have Ethernet, and part of that, that's how they're cutting some cost. And what you're not going to get out of that is you're not going to get your online streaming of audio, radio stations, that type of thing. You're not going to get like setup. Some of the units will do setup over a web server. You can just log in with your laptop to or your computer to adjust the system. So that's one of the areas, as I said, they cut some costs. But it does support an Ipod Connection Kit in the box. It comes with it, and there's also an optional Bluetooth adapter which will let you connect your any of your iThings, but also it'll work with cell phones and anything that does Bluetooth audio.
Right. And it also has an auto calibration mode. So if you don't want to get out your calibration equipment and make sure it's all dialed in for your room, you just push a button and it'll do it all for you. All of that for an MSRP of around $280.
All right, so we've set up the receiver. And now the question is, how does it sound?
Well, the first thing we had to do, I mean, the reason that you'd go out and buy this is that it supports the new next generation audio codec. So you got to try it with Dolby True HD. That's the first thing we did. In fact, we went straight to the horse's mouth, put in the Dolby demo disc, and it sounded really good. We were pleasantly surprised with how well it filled the whole room with sound, and not just sound, but good sound.
Right, but I will caveat this with, you know, for smallish rooms, smallish to medium size. I mean, if you've got a dedicated home theater, you know, one of those big theaters, this isn't going to be the receiver for you. But for most people who've got a family room, this thing's going to really rock the house.
Right. So in a normal size family room, a normal size, you know, home theater area, it's going to do a really good job for you. Now it does also include the Dolby Pro Logic 2Z, which is the height channel, but it doesn't have amplification for that. It's a preamp output. You need to add a stereo amplifier for it. And for the most part, that's not that big a deal because most people don't have those speakers anyways.
Right.
So if you're going to buy the height channel speakers, you can get the extra amplifier to go ahead and run them.
And you know, I think that's a smart idea for Pioneer to do that because they were able to cut some costs by removing a couple of channels. However, not only can you use that for the height channels, but you can also use it for the surround backs. There's an option in there to say, you know what, route the 7.1. So although it's advertised as a 5.1 system, you can get 7.1 audio with that additional amplifier.
Yeah, and if having all 7 channels of amplification built in is important to you, you can step up to the Pioneer 920 for an extra $100, which is a 7.1 amplifier.
So another cool feature, Braden, was the Ipod Connection Kit. And this comes standard with the receiver. You connect this into the front panel, and you have the audio, the video, and you have the Ethernet, you have the USB, and then you have the 30-pin dock connector for the iPod. And once you've connected it, you can control your iPod or play your iPod through the system. But the nice thing about it is if you've got a car system, you know, a lot of those, when you plug it in, you lose control of the music from the actual iPod. You have to use the car stereo system to control it.
Yeah, and one of the reasons it's important you can still control it on the iPod is that you don't get video on the HDMI output, right? So the display for what's on the iPod being controlled on here only comes over the analog outputs.
Yeah, and you know, that's kind of a bummer because if you've got videos on your iPod and you want to watch it, you won't be able to do that unless you've got an analog connection. It does support analog connection, but the kind of scenario of having just one connection to your receiver, that being HDMI, is now out with this if you want to run analog video, or for that matter, the on-screen menu.
Right. So along those lines, it won't do any kind of up conversion or video conversion from your analog inputs to your digital outputs. So if you're running analog into it, you have component video or S-video or composite video, they won't come out the HDMI. So you will need to run multiple outputs from the receiver to the TV. Now, another thing you can add on to it, and this is an optional add-on for an extra $100, is the Bluetooth connection kit. If you don't happen to have an iDevice that you would use with this one, you can use the Bluetooth kit and add any cell phone or anything that has Bluetooth audio and get it playing straight back on your receiver.
So I used on the Bluetooth, I used the cell phone, my iPhone. I use an iPod Touch, and I even use an iPad. So it's kind of cool sitting there with the iPad. And what's nice about that is, in that form, until the iPad has multitasking, you can multitask with this. So if you do play some audio, you can put the audio in the background, and you can go back to your iPad and check email or do whatever you want. And it kind of made it nice. You can sit there and play music off of it. But you know, it's $100 extra. I personally think it's worth the $100, especially when you consider the whole device is only $280.
Right, now keep in mind that Bluetooth is kind of a short distance protocol. So as long as your iPhone or other cell phone, if you got a BlackBerry or a Droid or something else, is in your home theater room, kind of in that media room area, it's going to sound good. If you walk out of the room, you go, you know, get a drink or go answer the phone or something else, you're going to lose that audio quality pretty quick.
So, you know, the only knocks we have against it, and they're so minor, but we are going to bring it up, is there is no on-screen menu if you're using HDMI only, and there's no video from the iPod as well, like we just said. So, I mean, two minor knocks as far as I'm concerned. Other than that, $280, I think this is our new value price receiver that we're recommending.
Yeah, it did a great job, filled a normal sized room with great sound, and you know, we loved it.
So that's it. We hope you enjoyed our video presentation, and we'll catch you next time. Why don't you, let's do it the normal way.
So yeah, and now you need to go out and watch some HDTV.
And we'll catch you next time.